Okay, so just to give you a quick introduction, Arul, thanks.
Thank you. Welcome.
I used to work for primarily aerospace industry and industrial automation. So these two industries depend quite a lot on sensing a lot of parameters, and I mean you can imagine an aircraft losing its sensing ability, right? Uh, when I got into agriculture, what I realized, both in India and outside India, the level of automation in the field of agriculture uh, probably not as great as what you would see in an industrial automation or in aerospace industries, which I was familiar with. So that's how uh, I started thinking about how do you bring the high tech into this agriculture, at the same time keep it as economical as possible and improve the productivity. So that was the whole context in which in 2011-12 timeframes I ventured into agriculture. And so far, I think we're really having good time. A lot of my friends here in Tamil Nadu and rest of India as well are able to today appreciate the need for precision farming and the need for technological intervention in the field of agriculture. So with that introduction, let's move on. So the name of the technology that we have brought in is called Growtron, and we believe it is likely to encourage new age farming with cutting edge technology. So if you really ask a question, what leads to a successful farming? The simplest answer that I have known of is precision agriculture leads to successful farming. So, what are the constituents of precision agriculture? So, I've just numbered a few points here. There are many, but I felt, I mean, whatever I felt important, I have listed here. Irrigation. When I say irrigation, it starts from the design of irrigation to how much to irrigate, when to irrigate. And when you talk about fertilizer application, what is a crop? What is the climatic condition? What is the soil condition, water condition? And what is the target yield of a crop, and how much of fertilizer should be supplied, in what quantity, when, how. Quite a lot of questions will have to be answered. And data analysis is almost non-existent in our farming environment. But then it is really important for us to be able to analyze the historical data to be able to make some sense and use that to mine some insightful information to be able to better our process in the future. Buyer. So you can be very successful in cultivation, but if we don't have the right buyer for the right price, then the entire effort probably will turn out to be unsustainable. And input supplies. So we need fertilizers, we need maybe some equipments, we need pesticides, um, any kind of farm inputs will have to be made available just in time in agriculture. When I say just in time, there are cases, say some infections can wipe out a few acres in a matter of a day. So if we did have the right inputs at the right time, in any eventuality, taking corrective actions becomes a cakewalk, and we don't need to look at a huge loss that could occur in a few hours to few days. And farm services. So farm services could be, let's say, harvesting service, pesticide spraying service, agronomist service. There could be many services in a farm. So, but then they all have to be made available at the right time. And farm equipment. So farm equipment is, let's say, pruning equipment, the weeding equipment, or the spraying equipment. So we're talking about quite a lot of things, well planned and well made available just in time to be able to run a farm successfully. So just a quick overview of what is precision farming. So you can divide this into three timelines: the preparation timeline, the cultivation timeline, and the post-harvest timeline. So preparation timeline, there is a lot of planning that goes in. I'm not really getting into the fine details of those. So this picture you see on the screen could give you an indication of what planning on the field before cultivation means. You can see the spacing done neatly with measurements. And if anybody thinks this picture was shot somewhere in Maharashtra or Israel, not so. This was shot in Tirunelveli district. This farm belongs to a person by name Murugesan, and this farm is somewhere near Tenkasi. So you can see some elements of precision farming from this picture. And similarly, during cultivation, we are talking about a lot of parameters to be maintained. And if we did maintain those parameters, again, you can take a look at this picture. You can see uniform growth of a crop with nice flowering all around. And again, this farm also is in Tirunelveli. This is in Kayattar. And this is a protected structure. Net house, it is in Tirunelveli as well. And then the last of the points in precision farming is about post-harvest. So after you harvest, we typically tend to hunt buyers. Unless someone is really willing to go dump it in the mandi, we tend to hunt for buyers in advance, and we really work hard to get the best price. And then the last point is about traceability. So how would it be if we are able to trace back a produce that I get in a retail shop, to be able to trace back to the farm, to the farmer, and to know what was used to cultivate that produce that I get in my retail shop. These are some of the things that if I do it right, my farming can become absolutely successful. So when we had this understanding is when we came up with this technology called Growtron. So we named it as Growtron because Tron stands for anything robotic and growing. So that's how we coined this name. And this is an autonomous irrigation and fertigation system. So what does Growtron include? Basically, three main components. One, autonomous farming. When I say autonomous farming, the irrigation, the fertilization, power management, climate management, if it is a protected cultivation, all of these powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning. These two terminologies are a buzzword in the last few years, and we have used the same buzzwords as a backend and or as a backbone for our system. And then the second component is farm trust. This is essentially a traceability system where I, as a farmer, can expose when I harvest. Growtron gives a QR code, which I can then in turn pass it on to my buyer. My buyer can then pass it on to his retail buyers. And then they can establish a traceability and find out the entire history about this crop, right from the geographical condition to the cultivation conditions, all of that. And then the third component of Growtron is connected farm. So connected farm is, if you recall, I'll just go back to a slide and then I'll come back. If you recall this, I need irrigation to be done right. I need the fertigation to be done right. I need the right buyers. I need the right supply. So what Growtron does is keeps tag of all the people involved. When I say all the people involved, right from the fertilizer shop person to an agronomist, to a buyer, can be anyone in the agriculture ecosystem. And all of them are virtually connected through Growtron. Therefore, any requirement for a farm in real time will be fulfilled. So this is the crux of the whole thing, which I wanted to explain. So if you can imagine these brown background rectangles as different gate valves in your farm. And I'm actually proceeding with this presentation, assuming all the participants here understand the basic structure of a farm, right? So in the basic structure of the farm, you have a farm divided into multiple gate valves. And what our system does is you can actually implant different kinds of sensors into each of the plots, which are controlled by their own independent solenoid valves, and they keep learning about each plot. And then when they know that this plot needs little more moisture, say for the moisture maintenance um, is in fact a soil dependent activity. So a particular soil, maybe a black soil, might require lesser water to maintain, say, 35 to 50% moisture, while a sandy soil might require more water to maintain the same 35% to 50% moisture. So it is more of a soil dependent activity. So our sensors keep learning the moisture conditions, the temperature conditions. If you want, it can keep learning about the EC, pH, or NPK, any sensing that you would like, or the carbon dioxide sensing can be sensed, and all the sensed data in turn then will get pushed into the cloud. And if the farmer had set, let's say, 40 to 60% as the moisture that he wants to maintain, then when the moisture goes below 40%, the system goes on automatically. There is no human intervention required. The system goes on automatically. The valve will get opened, the pump will get switched on if there is a power. If there is no power, then it will wait for the power to come and then will turn on the pump. And during the irrigation, if let's say urea is due, or an organic farmer Panchagaviyam is due for today, and if it is due, let's say 15 liters per acre calculation, then the system will turn on the right tank. As you can see, I've depicted 4 tanks. You can have literally any number of tanks as you need for your farm, and system will open the right tank automatically, and will ensure that 15 liters, if that was the set number, 15 liters of Panchagaviyam is sent per acre. That means if, let's say, this valve or the gate valve area is about 2 acres, then it will ensure that the 30 liters of Panchagaviyam is dispensed. So, and if this farm also has, let's say, a protected structure, so in addition to ensuring the irrigation and fertilization, it will also ensure the climatic condition. It will maintain the temperature by using either the fogger or the fan and pad or refrigerant, by managing both the temperature and the humidity parameters inside the structure. And what happens inside the farm is something you can see on your phone, like what you see. I mean, I've actually tried giving a few screenshots. Right here, you can see a farm with few plots marked as green and few orange and few blue. So these indicate different conditions of the soil. So you get to know in real time at all 24 hours what really happens in your farm. And if something goes wrong, say for example, the pipeline, the irrigation line breaks off, or there is no power supply when there needs to be power supply, or the fertilizer that is supposed to be there in a tank is not available. So you will also get a notification about all of these events, so that you can take the right actions. So anything that is considered not so favorable or untoward will be notified instantly, so that the corrective action can be taken. And I mean, it is not very uncommon to see generators these days in some modern farms. And in those kinds of scenarios, if something needs to be done in the farm, but then there is no power supply, our system has the ability to turn on the generator on its own and do whatever is necessary, irrigation, fertilization, or the climate control, and then we'll switch off the generator when it is not required anymore. So this is how sophisticated the system has been made to make sure that in our current condition, where if even if a farmer would like to maintain the right moisture, would like to ensure the right amount of fertilizer is sent at the right time, in reality, practically these are difficult, and most often than not, almost next to impossible task in a farm. So therefore, anything that is supposed to be part of a process can be automated through the system called Grotron, and the farm then runs as desired. And then not just that, let's say um, these four tanks have got some fertilizers. And when the fertilizer level goes below a certain quantum, but then the system knows that let's say the system knows tomorrow I need 200 liters of Panchagavyam to be supplied, or 5 kilograms of urea to be supplied. But if the tank fertilizer level goes below what is necessary, then not only does the farmer get an intimation, but also, if you recall, I talked about connected farms. So if the farmer, in fact, sets his preference, saying, I would like the fertilizers to be replenished when it goes low, or I would like to get to know about the fertilizers that I buy in my neighborhood, then the buyer also will, I mean, the seller will also be automatically informed, saying in so and so form, urea, um, which is required. Let's say 100 kilograms is required for the next 3 weeks, but the stock in the farm is only 5 kilograms. So the buyer can be informed, or the farmer can set it to auto replenishment. That means if the seller gives a credit sale, then the supplies will be sent to the farm automatically. And there is a predictive model in the system which has the ability to predict the potential harvest that is likely in the future, say 2 months from now to another 10 months. So not only does it predict, it also keeps the right people informed. So if I grow organic brinjal of Tirunelveli type, let's say the white brinjal organically, then the system tries to search for people who are looking for white brinjal grown organically, and then will keep those people informed. Therefore, uh, there is a high chance of uh, that produce getting a better price when the real harvest actually takes place. So, one, the farm, the operations in the farm are made completely automatic and autonomous. Two, everything that is needed for the farm, right from inputs to service to selling to everything else, is connected with the right people at the right time without we having to worry about it. So that way, everything that is needed, uh, I mean, there is a 90% or higher probability that everything that is needed may be done at the right time. Therefore, precision agriculture can be made a reality. So this is one about the technology. Number two, uh, so lot of us might have an imagination that drip irrigation and precision agriculture is only for plantation or for vegetables. I would actually like to convey to my friends in this webinar that it can very well be done even for rice, pulses, and cereals. Um, for those of you who may not have heard about this, rice grown with drip irrigation is supposedly giving a yield 30 to 40% higher than that of regular typical flood irrigated rice. And same is the story with pulses and cereals. And right in India, a lot of farms in Maharashtra and Andhra are turning towards drip irrigated and technology driven rice and pulses and cereals. So the system can handle whether it is vegetables, rice, pulses, cereals, or plantation. And effectively, what we have seen so far is that there is at least 30% or higher productivity. And in some cases, the productivity has been much, much higher. Just to give you an example of a situation in Udumalpet near Coimbatore, we have seen the productivity jump from 3 to 6 tons an acre to about 80 tons an acre. So how 80 tons an acre? Because the crop had the potential is 80 tons, and following precision agriculture helps in getting to the right potential. And there is a tremendous water saving, and because of the accurate application of fertilizers, organic or inorganic, or in other words, nutrients, there is a good saving there as well. So in addition to the technology itself, there are a lot of my friends who will also need information about where to start, how to start. there may be a land bank of 2 acres to 20 acres to 200 acres. But the real question would be, how do I start? Where do I start? So we since our objective is to make sure the farming as an activity becomes successful, predictable, and profitable, we try to engage ourselves from the right beginning of design phase. We try to help the farmers get the design of the drip irrigation right. We try to get involved at the soil testing and water testing phase, and try to get the nutrition plan right in place, and also try to help in making sure during the cultivation process, the crop care, which is a combination of multiple factors, primarily nutrition management, pest management, and disease management. We try to help there as well. So, but these are some of the agronomy related services we offer to all our farmers. So that way, one, there is a technology. Two, there is a know-how, and there is a well experienced agronomist who is there to help me in case of eventualities that I need to address. So that way, the knowledge and technology can go hand in hand, and the whole farming activity as a whole can become absolutely predictable and profitable. So, and how do we get visibility of what is happening in my farm? So what you see on the screen right now are some of the screenshots. So there are many automation systems in the world. Grotron is not new for that matter, but we have really gone, several levels above any players out there in the market in giving data that is typically unimaginable in a farm environment. So you can get a variety of data from the farm, and it is all there in the cloud permanently for you to analyze at any point in time. So you get the reality, you get the condition as of today, and you have the data to corroborate anytime in the future. And also, we have moved away from the notion of valve-centric automation or the motor-centric automation to a crop-centric automation. That means our system is not going to communicate with the farmer by the valve count, first valve, second valve, third valve. Rather, it is going to communicate with the crop. Tomato, so-and-so variety, this batch versus brinjal, so-and-so variety, this batch. So the communication is going to be on a crop, not on a valve. So it is based on what is available today in the market. We as a startup have really taken this to a level which we believe will really help in making precision agriculture real reality. So these are some of the screenshot I've given here just for the purpose of demonstration, so that people know how you get information from the farm, what kind of information you get from your farm, and how real time the information can be, right? So I wanted to keep my conversation short and crisp, and have real good conversation with the participants here. So that's pretty much I wanted to present. So now the floor is open, and Arul, can you explain our mechanism of Q&A?
Yes, Ben. Yes. Okay. Those who are having doubts, you can type the query shortly in the chat box, and Benjamin will answer for that. Okay. So on the end of the session, if you have any particular doubts about, if you want to talk, you can go ahead and talk. Okay. So firstly, we will we are allowing the people to type the doubts. Okay. So whatever the clarifications, if you want to clarify, you can type in the chat box, and Mr. Benjamin will answer for that.
Yeah. So thanks, Arul. So what we will do is, for a couple of minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes, we'll try to collect the questions from the participants, and then we'll make the floor open so it can be interactive. So there is one question that has come: how much power consumption is required for Grotron apps? So number one, Grotron as a system is completely on solar. So all the valve operations are done using solar harvested power. Therefore, Grotron itself does not require any power. However, it requires a very minimal power supply to monitor the pump and to be able to operate the pump. And even there, if a farm is equipped with solar system, then we are talking about a situation of absolute zero power requirement.
Benjamin, I have asked for the question for about an acre for a paddy, how much need to be spent, the budget to set up the Grotron?
Okay, so this is a question from Bala. How much would it be approximately for an acre of paddy to set up Grotron? So the budgetary side is a little tricky calculation, but still I'll try to answer this question. So essentially, there are two components. One is some fixed components that are required for a farm, irrespective of whether the farm is of 1 acre or 100 acres. And then, depending on the number of valves, you have some variable factors, which is the physical valve itself and the solar panel or the controller that is needed for a farm. So, basically, what is needed to run a farm will be in the range of about, let's say, 1 lakh. And then the number of valves decides how additional costing needs to be worked out. So this 1 lakh that I'm talking about is actually common irrespective of the farm size. So if it is a 1 acre, I would assume the cost would be in less than 1.5 lakhs. And but then there can be umpteen number of sensing options which can make the costing again a highly variable factor. But as a basic indication, you can say approximately 1.5 lakhs as a basic costing. And there is so Bala, with that, I'll go to the next question. So there is another.
Yes, please. I got your answer. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, does the sensor sense root fungal? The straight answer is no, it does not. So there are sensors available in the market which can sense potential pest infestation, potential diseases, and we are working with some companies in Spain and Sweden to integrate their solution, and also a few in India to integrate their solution to give pest and disease detection and automatic remedy. But for fungal, so far the answer is no. And the next question is, we import huge amount of cotton from other Asian countries. Cotton is a cash crop. If you grow with an advanced farming technique, will be vital, especially in South India environment, Tuticorin, Tamil Nadu, and Tenkasi. What model can be adopted? Okay, so I would actually encourage for anyone who has interest in cotton to go see videos on YouTube about cotton harvesting practices in the Western countries. Either some of the practices that you can see in the US, or the Britishers cultivating in African countries. So what they do is, there are certain varieties of cotton where the flowering and the breakage of flower, what do you call that? I mean, it all happens very uniformly. And then they use a harvester to harvest everything at one go. There are no multiple pluckings. And those varieties do exist in India as well. So these crops do extremely well in a precision environment. So and crops like cotton in several areas, they cultivate cotton and then they do a vegetable, then again go back to cotton depending on the water availability. So with precision agriculture, they can use the same bed, they can use the same infrastructure, and they can do crop rotation, and the productivity can be absolutely the most optimal for cotton as well. And there is another question: how much human intervention or monitoring is required with Grotron compared to traditional farm? That's a good question. So in a traditional farm, for people who might have done farming already, you would know, தண்ணி பாய்ச்சிட்டியாப்பா பாய்ச்சிட்டேன், உரம் போட்டியாப்பா போட்டுட்டேன். But you would actually say, for example, if you have a farm with say brinjal and let's say even cotton for that matter. So one would irrigate cotton much lesser and comparatively slightly higher to brinjal, right? And that's how the crop also demands. Now, it doesn't matter how best you try to bring that process in your farm. All of us know it is next to impossible, or it is not going to happen that your farm laborers really manage that kind of a precision in your farm. So you'll have to really keep tab of, if you want to do precision farming, you need to keep tab of what is the moisture level in the farm. So you were talking about somebody running around each gate well, plugging the sensor in, reading it, writing it on a notepad, and you're talking about measuring your temperature, humidity, pH and EC, all of that, noting it down, and then discussing with an agronomist, coming up with some solution. So practically, as we know, is really tough and in most cases not possible. So when you compare Grotron with traditional monitoring, in my opinion, it is uncomparable. I mean, the least to say that it is uncomparable. And Grotron helps you in monitoring everything without you being present, or without any of your employees, staff being present in your farm, and giving you the right information at the right time. So therefore, the one word answer to your question is not comparable. So the next question is about use of fertigation for growth of trees like teak. So maybe some of the experienced agronomists in this panel could also answer. But to the best of my knowledge, what I've heard is that crops like teak, in fact, requires to be grown in a more natural environment than fertigated environment. Maybe Ovir sir, you can answer this question if you would like. So the question is, what about fertigation for trees like teak? And do you have any answer, sir?
See, as you say, other crops, no, if you say coconut, that is yielding throughout the year. Every month it is giving flower. So what is the 1 year dose? You can split any number of times. No? If you go for other crops, like whatever be vegetables and fruits, no? See, there are vegetative phase, flowering stage, and fruiting stage. No? It depends upon that the requirements changes. But teak, he's asking for teak, no?
Yes.
Tea or teak?
Teak wood.
Teak wood, teak. That, see, I'm telling that we have to discuss with the IFJT or Forest College people, and they may not be done like this. I hope. So it's only growing. What we need is the growth.
I have just a couple of days ago spoken to a gentleman who is growing teak in Cambodia and harvesting it in 7 years. So, so he shortened the cycle from 20 plus years to 7 years. And I think this is an area where we can do a lot of experimentation. It will make a substantial difference.
Well, see, I wanted to tell you one thing. There, he's talking about the volume. But the hardwood, that is more important when teak and or other woods, no. And you know the grains, I'm talking about the grains inside.
Understood. And you're quite right about that. I will find out more information on that.
Adi, you can, you know, IFGTP, Institute of Genetic Tree Breeding in Coimbatore?
Do something on growing trees like teak, rosewood, sandalwood, I think will impact.
Okay, so thanks. I think we will move on to the next question. And there, I can see one hand raised for quite some time. I don't know if it is an accidental click of hand raise or I'm not sure. Okay, so I'll read out the next question. So how effective is Grotron for a farm of size 2 to 10 acres versus half an acre? So, you know, very honestly, what I would say is that it is for people who cannot manage their farm. There are people who very passionately go to their farm, like I did in 2012-13, where I was in my farm doing the irrigation, even pest control. I did everything myself with all passion available in the world. So I would think of anyone with half acre to 1 acre to 2 acres would in fact do that, unless it is a remote farm, like a person who asked a question a little while ago by name Bala, who has just about 2 acres of land, but he is in Bangalore while the land is in Kadalur. Except for those reasons, people who are in their lands with half acre to 2 acres, I think they're better off doing it themselves. And the technology sophistication, I think, is genuinely for people who are not able to manage, either because of the scale or because of whatever reason. And with that, I'll go to the next question. Okay, so the next question is about what do you say for a new farm of, let's say, 10 acres to be established from scratch? Good question. So this is what I was trying to mention a while ago, where we try to get involved right from planning. So, our people come over, either we directly or our associates come to the field, take soil samples, they do a GPS measurement, and the actual layout is plotted on a Google Earth, and soil testing is done, the water testing is done, agronomist is brought in, depending on whether it is organic or inorganic, and accordingly the right nutrition plan is made. And even before the nutrition plan is made, the crop selection, depending on what can be grown in that region well and what can be sold in that region well. So with the best of the knowledge that we can collect, the crop planning is an assistance that we generally get involved. And then we get involved in the nutrition planning, the pest and disease management, all the way right from தமிழ்ல சொல்ல போனா அடிக்கல் நாட்டுறதுல இருந்து ஹார்வெஸ்ட் பண்ற வரைக்கும் we try to pitch in with the right set of associates that we have formed over the last 8 to 10 years, and that's how we try to get a farm to a real successful cultivation model.
Yeah, good evening. Now, how do you motivate the people to join Growtron?
Okay, so how do we motivate people to join Growtron? When you say join Growtron, as a customer or as a associate, customer, I suppose.
As a customer. So
Customer.
if I'm not having any knowledge about Growtron, is there any possibility of showcasing your infrastructure?
Yes. So in the last few months, we have been actively trying to establish demo farms in several places with as low budget as possible, with smaller lands. I mean, more than the budget, manageability point of view, smaller land holdings. We are trying to establish demo farms, and off late, we also have been blessed with the small possibility of having a demo farm in Tamil Nadu Agri University. So generally what we try to do, how we try to educate people about the existence of this technology is more than doing a marketing by, in fact, participating in farmer groups and taking them to some farms that we established in their neighborhood as a demo farm. Sometimes we also convert our customer farm itself into a demo farm by making sure all the precision agriculture components are installed. But I think in about a month to month and a half time from now, we will also have a demo setup inside Tamil Nadu Agri University facility to be able to show that as a demo unit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there is another question: how many pumps can be controlled? So the answer is there is no condition there. A real farm may have 1 pump or may have 4 pumps or more. So it doesn't really matter. As far as Growtron is concerned, you can configure any number of pumps in the system, and all the pumps can very cohesively work together. The other question is, does it work for coffee? Yes, the answer is, or maybe I don't know if that the question is about coffee or the person is going for a coffee break, I don't know. If the question is about does it work for coffee, the answer is yes. And the other question is, does it work for organic farming? Absolutely yes. Organic farming, there are two parts to the organic farming. One is the soil conditioning, where we use solids or powdered material to condition the soil. Obviously, a system like Grotron cannot handle that. But anything organically that you handle in liquid form, of course, it can handle. And the other question is, does Grotron make any recommendation to improve the end-to-end process based on the data analytics or best practice in the cloud? Precisely, that's the whole point. So the data that is collected is always on the cloud, and we use analytical models to corroborate a lot of data points. So I'll give you a small example. Let's say in Tirunelveli, I cultivate say white brinjal. Again, I'll take the same example. Now, in this, and I use certain combination of fertilizers and I get a certain harvest. Now, assuming somebody in Karnataka where the climatic condition, or let's take Andhra, which is similar. So in Andhra, some place which has a very similar climatic condition and the soil condition to that of Tirunelveli, and assuming they're also growing white brinjal, then Grotron, with all privacy clauses respected, has the ability, without identifying the individual's details, has the ability to analyze the differences between the two, and has the ability to automatically optimize the fertigation plan or the nutrition plan. So the analytics is already part of the system. It is already built into the system, and this is one part of it, where the analyzed data using artificial intelligence is converted into some sensible inferences, and the inference again goes into the live system, is one part of the story. The second part of the story is, yes, you can also take a dump of the data that is generated from your farm on Grotron, and you can, download it, do any kind of analysis that you would like, and come up with your own improvements. That is also possible.
Yes, this is again coming back to plantation crops like coffee and pepper. We have it planted on slopes. So,
okay, I couldn't hear you well, but is your question about, can this be used in a slopey area? Okay, so if that is a question, of course, yes, it can be used in a slopey area. In a slopey area, the design of your micro irrigation has to be done keeping in mind your elevation, keeping in mind the undulations. So once the drip irrigation is done, keeping those parameters in mind, yes, of course, a system can be implemented. And like I said before, our team would certainly get involved if it is a new farm and starting from scratch. All the way from drip irrigation planning, our team will get involved in making that a success. Mr. Gandhipan, I think, is trying to ask a question, but he is on mute. Yeah, Mr. Gandhipan.
Sir, I am an organic farmer. For organic farming, what type of things you suggest, sir?
Okay, so as far as the
I am using Jeevamrutam and all for my farm. I am not going for fertilization for using all your chemicals. So for that, how it is going to help us?
Yeah, yeah. So just a while ago, I answered the same question. So basically, in organic, you will be doing two things. One, on the soil, you may be applying some stuff like your compost and things like that. You may supply it right to the root on the soil. That is something Grotron cannot handle. But Jeevamrutam, Panchagaviyam, or anything in liquid form that you would like to mix and send it through your drip irrigation system, Grotron can function beautifully well as you do with the chemical farm. In fact, we have 4 farms, organic farms, which runs on Grotron, where they use Panchagaviyam and Jeevamrutam and something called the Totti Karaisal. So it is definitely doable.
What I mean, how it's possible, is it easy to control multiple crops in a say 10-acre, 20-acre plot? You may have different crops. Does
Yes.
it get complicated?
No, in fact uncomplicates the whole thing. So
Yeah.
can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to move things away. Okay. So as you can see here, the crop is divided into plots and then the geofencing is done. Assuming, let's say these two are tomato, you can configure these as tomato on the app. And if these two are lemon, you can configure this as lemon in the crop, in the app. And then you can define a different fertigation program for lemon, different for brinjal, different for tomato. And the system, in fact, uncomplicates the whole thing by, like I said before, moving away from the plot and valve to crop. So it becomes extremely easy to manage by going into a crop-based system. So it in fact makes the whole thing much easier. You can then see all your data grouped by crop. Did that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes you may have to add the number of tanks, fertilization or something like that. You may have to increase the number of tanks and things like that. Maybe, I don't know.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. So if let's say you are an organic farmer with the Panchagaviyam that has to be supplied to all crops, you can in the app say, I will supply every week, let's say 1 liter of Panchagaviyam per acre for tomato, and I will supply 4 liters of Panchagaviyam per acre to lemon. The Panchagaviyam is in the same tank, but depending on when it irrigates tomato, it will inject 1 liter per acre. When it irrigates to lemon, it will irrigate 4 liters per acre. So that is absolutely handled in the back end automatically. So by grouping it by crops, it makes life all the more easier.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Ben, one more question, because this is going to be in the open, kind of in a lightning and all kind of environment. How do you is the equipment protected? How best is it?
Okay, I'll be very, very honest. Human beings have not invented anything that can protect any device from lightning so far. So, so having said that, see what today happens really is that we are all surrounded by cell phone towers. So most of the cell phone towers have got the Ididangi, which in fact takes the lightning and grounds it. So therefore, we're reasonably safe. So any farm that has, let's say, a motor starter is also an electronic device. It is a combination of electrical and electronic device. And the Grotron is also similar. It is a combination of electrical and electronic device. So these are all absolutely highly vulnerable to lightning, and there is nothing you can do to safeguard it.
சார் நாம இருக்கிறது இந்தியாவில இருக்கிறோம். இந்த இந்தியன் கண்டிஷன்ல எனக்கெல்லாம் வேற பிசினஸ் இருக்குது. இதுலயே வந்து டெய்லி கம்ப்யூட்டர்ல வைரஸ், இது ஒன்னு ஸ்டெபிலைசர் போயிடும், இல்ல ஜெனரேட்டர் போயிடும், லோக்கல்லி நெட்வொர்க் ஒழுங்கா வேலை செய்யறது இல்ல. இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷன் டெய்லி ஏதோ ஒரு தகவல் இருந்துட்டே இருக்குது. நாம இருக்கிறதும் 100 கிலோமீட்டர்ஸ் தள்ளி இருக்கிறோம். ஃபார்மிங் அங்கே நடக்குது. நாம உங்க ஆளுங்க வந்து வேற ஒரு பக்கம் இருக்கிறாங்க. இவங்க எல்லாத்தையும் ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணி அங்க வந்து நாம அதை கொண்டு வந்து செட் பண்றதுக்குள்ள இங்க நம்ம ஆபீஸ்ல பாக்குறதே பெரிய கஷ்டமா இருக்கிறப்போ எப்படி நீங்க வந்து ஒரு 100 கிலோமீட்டர்ஸ்ல உங்களை எல்லாம் கோஆர்டினேட் பண்ணி கொண்டு வந்து இங்க சேர்த்தி அதை நாம ரெடி பண்றது, இது வந்து பெரிய சேலஞ்சிங்கான விஷயம் சார். நீங்க சாதாரணமா சொல்லிடுறீங்க. எவ்ரிடே லைஃப்ல நம்ம உட்காந்து நம்ம ஆபீஸ்லயே இவ்வளவு ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கிறப்ப எங்கேயோ இருக்கிற இடத்துல ஒரு 100 கிலோமீட்டர்ஸ் தள்ளி இருக்கிற இடத்துல விடவிடாம அது கிராப்புக்கு வந்து கரெக்டா வந்து நீங்க ஃபெர்டிலைசேஷன் இந்த வாட்டர் எல்லாம் குடிக்கலன்னு சொன்னா அது வறண்டு போகுது, வாடி போகுது. அந்த மாதிரி சிச்சுவேஷன் வந்து உங்களுக்கு எப்படி ஜெயிக்கும்?
எஸ். ஸோ இப்போ நீங்க சொன்ன இந்த எல்லா இந்தியன் என்வாயன்மெண்டல் கண்டிஷன்ஸும் ஃபுல்லா பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் நம்ம இந்த சிஸ்டமை டெவலப் பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். நம்பர் 1, நம்ம சிஸ்டத்துல 90% ஆஃப் Grotron does not require power from grid. ஸோ நம்ம வந்து எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி டிபெண்ட் பண்ணி இல்லை. அதுக்கு தேவையான பவரை வந்து சோலார் மூலமா we generate ourselves. Therefore அந்த ஒரு major part of the power related issue is gone. The second part of the power issue is only related to fertigation and operating the pump. So pump can only be operated anyway when there is a power. So and the power that Grotron is also using to operate the same pump. So அந்த இடத்துல இருக்கக்கூடிய dependency is there, and to safeguard from untoward incidents, நாங்க என்ன பண்றோம் அப்படின்னா அந்த ஜென்ரல் ஒரு ஃபார்முக்கு போனீங்கன்னா ஒரு ஸ்டார்டர் மட்டும் தொங்கிட்டு இருக்கும். பெரும்பாலான ஃபார்ம்ஸ்ல, ஒரு சில ஃபார்ம்ஸ்ல தான் ப்ரொடெக்டிவ் மீன்ஸ்லாம் வச்சிருப்பாங்க. நாங்க வந்து என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து அதுக்கு தேவையான ப்ரொடெக்டிவ் மீன்ஸ்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு தான் நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப்பே பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ பவர் இல்லாதப்போ ஒர்க் ஆகாம இருக்கும், பவர் வந்த உடனே வந்து இது ரெஸ்யூம் பண்ணிக்கும். ஸோ கிட்டத்தட்ட இப்போ வந்து இட் ஹஸ் பீன் 3.5 years for us now. ஸோ இந்த நீங்க சொன்ன இந்த எல்லா என்வாயன்மெண்டல் கண்டிஷன்ஸும் ரொம்ப தரவா ஸ்டடி பண்ணி we have tried to give the best solution as much as possible. And over the time, இதுல அந்த பவர் கண்டிஷனை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் ஒரு நாளைக்கும் புது புது சினாரியோஸ் வரும். we are also learning that, but as much as possible எல்லா விதமான சினாரியோஸும் ஹேண்டில் பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். எங்களுக்கு வந்து இந்த பவர்னால வரக்கூடிய இஷ்யூஸ் நாங்கள் சிஸ்டம் லான்ச் பண்ண புதுசுல எங்களுக்கு ரொம்பவே இருந்தது. பட் ஒரு லாஸ்ட் ஒரு 2.5 yearsல ஐ திங்க் we have really come a long way and stabilized very well. Arul, is there any other question that we have to answer? Okay.
Ben, that's about it.
Yeah, no, there are two questions. One is, do we have any model farm for paddy in Tamil Nadu? There are farms in Ramnad district, and there is also one in Tirupur. And we are actually going to establish a drip irrigated, Grotron managed paddy field somewhere near Tirupur very, very shortly, maybe in a matter of 2 months, because really not many people are willing to take a risk and try paddy. So we are going to do it ourselves in Tirupur. நீங்க வந்து அதை வந்து பார்க்கலாம், paddy in Tirupur, drip irrigated, Grotron managed. So the last question which we will take for this session is, what is the advantage of precision farming in intercrop cultivation? Is there any limitations in numbers, number of crops in the intercrop field? Okay, so I was expecting this question. So intercrop scenario பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, let's say my primary crop is coconut, intercrop let's say or nutmeg. அப்போ what so உங்களோட மெயின் கிராப் கோகனட்னா உங்களுடைய நியூட்ரிஷன் பிளானிங் யூசுவலா அந்த கோகனட்டை பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் வச்சிருப்பீங்க. அதுல காம்ப்ரமைஸ் நம்ம என்னெல்லாம் பண்ணலாம்? ஓகே, என்னோட இத்தனை கோகனட்டுக்கு இந்த நியூட்ரிஷன் தேவை, இத்தனை நட்மெக்கு இத்தனை நியூட்ரிஷன் தேவை, ரெண்டே மிக்ஸ் அண்ட் மேட்ச் பண்ணி ஒரு ஆவரேஜ் பண்ணலாம், ஒரு ஆப்ஷன். ரெண்டாவது ஆப்ஷன், ஒரு சிலர் இப்போ ஆஃப்லைட் என்ன பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னா, இந்த இன்டர் கிராப்புக்கும் தனி ட்ரிப்லைன் போட ட்ரை பண்றாங்க, தனி வேல்வ் கண்ட்ரோல்ல. ஸோ ஜஸ்ட் கீப் இன் மைண்ட், ஒரே வேல்வ்ல ஒரே ட்ரிப் லைன்ல 2 கிராப்பை போடும்போது ஈதர் 2 பேருமே ஆவரேஜ் எஃபிஷியன்சில இருப்பாங்க. கண்டிப்பா வந்து 2மே பெஸ்ட் எஃபிஷியன்சிக்கு வர முடியுமா அப்படின்னா, இன் சம் கேசஸ் எஸ், சம் கேசஸ் நோ. தெர்ஃபோர் இன்டர் கிராப்பிங்கை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் இட் இஸ் அ தியரி ஆஃப் ஆவரேஜ். இஃப் யூ ஹேவ் செப்பரேட் வேல்வ்ஸ், ஒன்னொன்னு நீங்க வந்து அப்சல்யூட்லி வித் ப்ரிசிஷன் யூ கேன் மேனேஜ். பட் அந்த இன்டர் கிராப்பிங்லேயே நிறைய ஆர்கானிக் பண்றவங்களாம் ரொம்ப சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா ஓவர் லாங் டைம் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. பட் நீங்க ஒரு தியரிட்டிக்கல் கால்குலேஷன்ல போயிட்டு ஃபெர்டிகேஷன் கால்குலேஷன்லாம் போட போனீங்கன்னா இன்டர் கிராப்பிங்ல இட் இஸ் அ சேலஞ்சிங் டாஸ்க். அப்புறம் நெக்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின் வந்து, ப்ளீஸ் ஷேர் த பவர் பாயிண்ட். எஸ், ஐ வில் ஷேர் த பவர் பாயிண்ட். ஸோ ஃபார் தோஸ் ஆஃப் யூ who like the PowerPoint, please type in your email ID in the comment in the chat window. So I will share the presentation. And the next question is, does Farmagain team support the whole of Tamil Nadu, or what is your reach? The answer is, at this point during this COVID days, obviously we are not able to support anywhere other than a few districts because of travel restrictions. But otherwise, yes, we can support almost the whole of Tamil Nadu. I mean, in case of any issue, we will be there the next day. So anywhere in Tamil Nadu, south of Karnataka, south of Andhra, we have our own set of people who can support in different places in Tamil Nadu already. So they will come and support. And even if it is remote, let's say 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers, we should be there the next day. So thank you all for joining. I think it was a very good session, and we will follow up with a little more interesting information in the future. And I see a lot of requests for presentation. So after the meeting is over, I will send the presentation to everyone who has requested for the same. And thank you, everybody, and have a nice weekend. And I hope to meet you all someday soon for year form activities where we can really contribute to the extent we can. Thank you so much.